High school is a battlefield, a sun-soaked sprawl of chaos where you're surrounded yet invisible, a paradox that defined my life at 17. I'm Caleb Moore, a junior at a San Diego high school, where the Pacific breeze carries salt and secrets through the halls. I wasn't the jock or the class clown, just a lanky kid with a sketchbook, my pencil tracing dreams no one saw. My dark hair and sharp cheekbones drew a few compliments, but they didn't shield me from the vultures circling the cafeteria. Bullies like Ryan Baxter, an 18-year-old with a linebacker's build and a sneer that could curdle milk, made my days a gauntlet. One blistering September afternoon, as the sun baked the quad, Ryan turned my world upside down, until Dylan Hayes, my rival, stepped in, sparking a drama that would rewrite my heart. The cafeteria was a zoo, trays clattering under fluorescent lights, the air thick with fries and teenage bravado. I sat alone, my sketchbook open to a half-finished drawing of Balboa Park's Lily Pond, a refuge from the noise. Ryan swaggered over, his crew trailing like hyenas, and snatched my sketchbook. "What's this, Moore? Doodling your feelings?" he mocked, holding a high as soda dribbled onto the pages, smearing my work. Laughter erupted, a wave crashing over me, and I shrank, my face burning, eyes glued to the table. "Give it back," I mumbled, but my voice was a whisper lost in the roar. Then a voice cut through, low and lethal, like a blade slicing fog. "Put it down, Baxter." The room stilled, heads turning to Dylan Hayes, 18, a 6'2" football star whose presence was a storm. His broad shoulders filled the doorway, his jawline sharp enough to cut glass, and his green eyes burned with a quiet fury that silenced even Ryan. Dylan was untouchable, a legend who owned the field and the halls, his rare words carrying weight. We clashed in art class last year, his competitive streak sparking heated debates over brushstrokes, making him my rival, not my savior. Ryan smirked, tossing the sketchbook onto the table, soda-soaked. "What's your deal, Hayes? Protecting your boyfriend?" His crew snickered, but Dylan's gaze didn't waver, icy and electric. "Not in the mood for your crap," he said, his voice smooth, shrinking Ryan to nothing. Ryan huffed, shoving past, muttering curses, and the crowd dispersed, buzzing with whispers. I sat frozen, heart hammering, as Dylan turned to me, his lips curving into a soft, disarming smile. "You okay, Caleb?" he asked, his voice a low tide, washing over me. "Yeah," I stammered, my cheeks flaming, stunned that Dylan Hayes, the guy who'd once mocked my abstract painting, had just saved me. His eyes lingered, a flicker of warmth sending a shiver down my spine. "If Baxter bugs you again, tell me," he said, then walked off, glancing back with a look that felt like a spark in the dark. I clutched my ruined sketchbook, my pulse racing, questions swirling. Why had he stepped in? Was it pity, a prank, or something else? That night, I lay in my San Diego bedroom, the hum of the Pacific a distant lullaby. My mother, gone 3 years from a car accident, had taught me to draw, her laughter filling our old Balboa Park picnics. Her absence was a wound, and sketching was my escape, but today's humiliation stung deeper. Dylan's face haunted me, his gaze, his voice, a riddle I couldn't solve. I told myself it was gratitude, nothing more, but my heart betrayed me, fluttering at the thought of him. Desperate for purpose, I joined the school's theater club, painting sets for the spring play, a new venture to drown out the noise. At rehearsal, I wielded a brush, crafting a forest backdrop, when a shadow fell over me. "Nice work, Picasso," Dylan said, leaning against a prop, his grin teasing. My breath caught, his presence a jolt. "What are you doing here?" I asked, suspicious. "Helping with lights," he said, his eyes glinting. "Didn't know you were an artist." His words were playful, but his gaze was intense, stirring a heat I couldn't name. As I painted, Dylan lingered, his banter easing my guard. "Ever been to Qualcomm Stadium for a game?" he asked, tossing a paint can between his hands. "Not my scene," I said, my voice steadier. He smirked. "Might change your mind." The air crackled, a promise or a challenge, and I wondered what game he was playing. That weekend, at a Balboa Park art workshop, I overheard Ryan plotting with his crew to mess with Moore at the next game, their laughter a knife. I froze, fear clawing at me, but Dylan's face flashed in my mind, his strength, his warmth, and I felt a spark of courage. As I walked home, the San Diego sunset painting the sky gold, I knew something had shifted. Dylan was my rival, my savior, and maybe something more, a mystery pulling me toward a truth I wasn't ready to face. The halls awaited, a stage for drama I couldn't escape, and I sensed a storm brewing, one that would change me forever. The San Diego sun blazed through the high school quad, its heat a mirror to the fire igniting in my chest since that cafeteria showdown. I was Caleb Moore, a 17-year-old junior, my sketchbook a shield against a world that saw me as prey. Ryan Baxter's soda-soaked taunts still stung, but Dylan Hayes' intervention, his 6'2" frame and piercing green eyes shutting Ryan down, had turned my reality upside down. Dylan, the 18-year-old football star who'd once mocked my art, was now a riddle. Rival, savior, or was something more dangerous. As days unfolded, his presence was a spark, setting my heart racing with every glance, while rumors and rivalries lit a fuse that threatened to explode our San Diego high school into chaos. The theater club became my refuge, where I painted sprawling forest sets for the spring play, the scent of acrylics grounding me. One afternoon, as I blended greens under the stage lights, a shadow loomed. "Not bad, Picasso," Dylan said, leaning against a prop tree, his grin a tease that sent my pulse skittering. At 6'2", his broad shoulders filled the space, his white tee clinging to his frame, a faint cedar scent drifting from him. "What you doing here?" I asked, my brush faltering, suspicion warring with the heat his gaze stirred. "Helping with lights," he said, his eyes glinting like the Pacific at dusk. "Didn't peg you for a theater kid." His banter was light, but his stare was heavy, a weight I couldn't shake. I shrugged, focusing on the canvas, but Dylan lingered, tossing a paint can between his hands. "You going to the game at Qualcomm Stadium Friday?" he asked, his voice casual but his eyes intense. "Football's not my thing," I said, my tone sharper than intended, expecting a jab. Instead, he smirked, stepping closer, his arm brushing mine, a jolt that made my breath catch. "Might be fun," he said, his voice low velvet. "I'll save you a seat." My cheeks burned, and I mumbled a non-committal, maybe, but his grin stayed with me, a spark in the dark. That Friday, I went, drawn by a pull I couldn't name. The stadium's roar a pulse under San Diego's starry sky. I found a bleacher seat, my sketchbook tucked away, nerves jangling as Dylan's team charged the field. He was a force, dodging defenders with a grace that stole my breath, his jersey clinging to his sweat-slicked frame. When he scored, the crowd erupted, and his eyes found mine, a flash of green that felt like a secret. After the game, he jogged over, helmet off, hair tousled. "You came," he said, his grin wide, his hand brushing mine as he handed me a water bottle. The touch was brief, but the crowd noticed, whispers rippling like waves, and my stomach twisted, fear and thrill colliding. By Monday, the rumors were a wildfire. Ryan Baxter cornered me in the hallway, his sneer venomous. "Chasing Hayes now, Moore? Think you're special?" His crew snickered, and I froze. My sketchbook clutched like armor, but Dylan appeared, his presence a storm. "Back off, Baxter," he growled, stepping between us, his shoulder grazing mine, a shield that sent my heart racing. Ryan scoffed. "What's this, Hayes?" "Your new pet." Dylan's jaw tightened, his fist clenching, but he held back, his eyes flicking to me, soft and fierce. "He's worth 10 of you," he said, his voice cutting, and Ryan retreated, muttering threats. The hallway buzzed, phones out, capturing the clash, and my face burned, humiliation warring with gratitude. Dylan turned to me, his hand on my shoulder, warm through my shirt. "You okay?" he asked, his voice a low tide, washing over me. "Yeah," I lied, my pulse thundering, his touch a flame I couldn't douse. "Thanks." He nodded, his gaze lingering, a question in his eyes, then walked off, leaving me reeling. Was he protecting me out of pity, or was there more? My heart whispered possibilities I didn't dare believe. Desperate for escape, I started a secret Instagram for my sketches, posting under Shadowscribe, anonymous lines of San Diego's beaches and skyline. To my shock, Dylan_22 followed, liking a sketch of La Jolla shores, commenting, "Killer work." My chest fluttered, his attention a spark in the digital dark, but fear gnawed at me. Why was he watching? At a Balboa Park art workshop that weekend, painting cacti under the sun, I overheard Ryan plotting with his crew. "Moore's gonna crash at the game," he sneered, "and Hayes won't save him." My blood ran cold, the paintbrush trembling, Ryan's threat a storm cloud over my fragile hope. That night, I sketched Dylan's silhouette, his jawline sharp against the sunset, my pencil tracing the riddle of him. My mother's voice echoed, her lessons at Balboa Park's Rose Garden urging me to find beauty in chaos. But this was no garden. This was high school, a battlefield where Dylan's glances were both sword and shield. I joined the theater club's prop crew, hauling wood with new friends, their chatter a distraction, but Dylan's presence lingered, his cedar scent in my mind, his touch a memory that burned. As I walked home, the San Diego dusk casting long shadows, I felt the drama brewing. Ryan's threat, Dylan's defense, and the rumors swirling like Pacific waves were a fuse, lit and hissing. Dylan was my rival, my protector, and maybe something more. A spark in the heat of the night, pulling me toward a truth I couldn't ignore. The halls awaited, a stage for a showdown that would test my heart, and I braced for the storm, knowing it would change me forever. The San Diego sun scorched the high school quad, its relentless glare a spotlight on the chaos erupting in my life. I was Caleb Moore, a 17-year-old junior, my sketchbook a fragile shield against a world that had turned vicious since Dylan Hayes, the 6'2" football star, saved me from Ryan Baxter's taunts. Dylan's green eyes and cedar-scented presence had ignited a spark I couldn't douse, his teasing banter and fleeting touches at Qualcomm Stadium fueling rumors that now burned through our school like wildfire. At 18, Dylan was my rival-turned-protector, but the whispers in the halls, sparked by a leaked video, threatened to unravel everything, plunging me into a drama that would test my heart and shake our San Diego high school to its core. The week after the game, the air was thick with tension, the quad buzzing with sidelong glances and hushed giggles. I clutched my sketchbook, heading to the theater club to paint sets when my phone vibrated with a notification. A video, posted anonymously on the school's unofficial Instagram, showed Dylan and me by the bleachers, his hand brushing mine, our faces close as we laughed. The clip was blurry, edited to look intimate, with a caption, "Moore and Hayes getting cozy." My stomach dropped, my face burning as I saw the likes pile up. Hundreds, then thousands. Comments flooded in. "Is Caleb his new fling? Hayes is slumming at LOL." I froze, the quad spinning, humiliation crashing over me like a Pacific wave. By lunch, the video was everywhere, phones lighting up in the cafeteria. Ryan Baxter, his linebacker frame looming, cornered me near the soda machines. "So Moore, you and Hayes a thing now?" he sneered, his crew snickering. Pathetic. I shrank, my sketchbook slipping, but a voice cut through, sharp as a blade. "Back off, Baxter." Dylan stormed in, his eyes blazing, stepping between us. "You posted that video, didn't you?" he growled, his fist clenching. Ryan smirked, unfazed. "Prove it, lover boy." The crowd gasped, phones out, recording the showdown, and my heart pounded, fear and gratitude colliding. Dylan's shoulder grazed mine, a shield, but his glare was lethal. "You're done," he said, and Ryan retreated, tossing a final taunt. "This ain't over." The hallway erupted in whispers, my name a poison on every tongue. In English class, a teacher, Mrs. Larson, gave me a stern look, muttering about distractions. I sank into my seat, my sketchbook open to a blank page, unable to draw, the video replaying in my mind. Was Dylan's defense real? Or was I a pawn in some twisted game? My secret Instagram, Shadow Scribe, was my only escape, where I posted a sketch of a stormy La Jolla shores, anonymous followers liking it, Dylan among them, his DylanH_22 handle a quiet lifeline. But even that felt dangerous now, his attention a double-edged sword. Desperate for clarity, I threw myself into the theater club, designing a starry backdrop for the spring play. One evening, Dylan appeared, hauling lights, his grin disarming. "Heard about the video," he said, his voice low, his eyes searching. "You holding up?" I nodded, my throat tight, his cedar scent stirring a restless pulse. "It's a mess," I admitted, and he stepped closer, his hand hovering near mine. "Let them talk," he said, his tone fierce. "They don't know us." His words were a spark, but fear gnawed at me. Us? What was us? The drama escalated when Dylan invited me to a beach bonfire at La Jolla Shores, a Saturday night ritual for our school's elite. I hesitated, Ryan's threat echoing, but Dylan's text, "Meet me at 8, I got you," was a siren call. The beach glowed under a crescent moon, flames crackling, music pulsing from speaker. Dylan stood by the fire, his silhouette a beacon, his white tee catching the light. "You made it," he said, his grin wide, handing me a soda, his fingers brushing mine, a jolt that made my breath catch. We sat on a driftwood log, the crowd's eyes on us, whispers swirling like smoke. As the night deepened, Dylan led me to the water's edge, waves lapping at our feet. "Ignore them," he said, his voice a low tide, his shoulder grazing mine. "You're tougher than they think." His warmth was a lifeline, but a girl's voice cut through. Mia Torres, Dylan's ex, her cheerleader poise masking venom. "So, Caleb, stealing Dylan now?" She taunted, her phone out, filming. My face burned, and Dylan's jaw tightened. "Knock it off, Mia," he snapped, but she laughed, posting the clip online with a caption, "New couple alert." The crowd buzzed, my heart sinking, betrayal a knife in my gut. Back at the bonfire, an awkward dance broke out, music blaring. Dylan pulled me into the circle, his hand on my wrist, warm and firm. "Dance with me," he said, his grin teasing, his eyes locking onto mine. I stumbled, my sneakers sinking in the sand, but his arms steadied me. Our bodies close, the crowd's stares await. His breath was warm, his cedar scent intoxicating, and for a moment, it was just us swaying under the stars. But Mia's laughter pierced the spell, her phone flashing, and I pulled back, panic rising. "This was a mistake," I muttered, fleeing to the shore, Dylan's voice calling after me. That night, I lay in my San Diego bedroom, the Pacific's a distant roar. My sketchbook held a new drawing, Dylan by the fire, his eyes a storm. Mia's video was viral, comments tearing me apart, Caleb's desperate, Dylan's slumming. Was she behind the bleacher video too? Ryan's threats, Mia's sabotage, and Dylan's touch were a tangled web, and I was caught, my heart a battlefield. The theater club's backdrop waited, a canvas for my chaos, but Dylan's grin haunted me, a spark in the heat of the night. The halls loomed, a stage for a reckoning, and I braced for the storm, knowing it would break me or make me. The San Diego moonlight cast long shadows across the high school halls, a stage where whispers turned to roars, and my life unraveled under the weight of a viral scandal. I was Caleb Moore, a 17-year-old junior, my sketchbook a lifeline in a world that branded me an outcast. Dylan Hayes, the 6'2" football star with green eyes that burned like embers, had saved me from Ryan Baxter's taunts, but his touches at Qualcomm Stadium and a bonfire at La Jolla Shores had sparked a firestorm. A leaked video of us, twisted to look intimate, had set our school ablaze, and Mia Torres's cruel filming had poured fuel on the flames. Now, as the spring talent show loomed, a single moment, Dylan's confession, would shatter my world, plunging us into a drama that would test our hearts and shake San Diego to its core. The school was a pressure cooker, phones buzzing with Mia's latest post, her caption, "New couple alert," a dagger in my chest. I threw myself into the theater club, painting a starry backdrop for the talent show, the scent of acrylics, a fragile anchor. One rehearsal, As I blended blues for a night sky, Dylan appeared, his white tee clinging to his frame, cedar scent drifting like a siren call. "Heard about Mia's video," he said, his voice low, his eyes searching. "You okay?" I nodded, my throat tight, his presence a spark in the dark. "It's humiliating," I admitted, and he stepped closer, his hand grazing my arm, warm and grounding. "She's jealous," he said, his tone fierce. "Don't let her win." His words were a lifeline, but fear clawed at me. Was he my ally, or was this a trap? The talent show was a glittering affair, the auditorium packed with students and parents, San Diego's palm trees swaying outside. My backdrop glowed under the lights, stars twinkling, a testament to hours of work. I stood backstage, nerves jangling, when Mia, her cheerleader smile venomous, brushed past. "Nice set, Caleb," she said, her tone dripping sarcasm. "Hope it holds up." My stomach twisted, her words a warning, but I focused on the stage, where Dylan was set to perform a guitar solo. His presence was magnetic, his fingers strumming a melody that hushed the crowd, his eyes finding mine, a silent promise. Then chaos struck. As a dance act took the stage, a prop, a wooden arch I'd painted, creaked and collapsed, crashing with a thud that silenced the auditorium. Laughter erupted, phones flashing, and I froze, humiliation crashing over me. Mia's smirk from the wings confirmed it. She'd sabotaged the bolts. I bolted backstage, my face burning, tears stinging, but Dylan caught me, his hands on my shoulders warm and firm. "Caleb, wait," he said, his voice urgent, pulling me into a shadowed corner. "This wasn't your fault." "It's over," I choked, my voice breaking. Everyone's laughing. His eyes blazed, green and fierce, and he stepped closer, his breath warm, cedar scent enveloping me. "Listen to me," he said, his voice raw. "I don't care about them. I care about you. I'm in love with you, Caleb." My world stopped, his words a thunderbolt, and before I could speak, he leaned in, his lips meeting mine, a kiss that was fire and salvation, soft yet desperate, a wave crashing over me. The world dissolved, leaving only us, his hands cupping my face, a spark that burned away my fear. But the moment shattered. A flash blinded us. Mia, her phone out, capturing the kiss, her laughter a knife. "Gotcha," she sneered, posting it instantly. The auditorium buzzing as phones lit up. The photo went viral, comments slicing like glass. "Hayes and more. Disgusting." I pulled back, panic surging, Dylan's face pale but resolute. "I'll handle this," he said, but the crowd's roar drowned him, teachers rushing backstage. Mrs. Larson's voice sharp. "Caleb, Dylan, principal's office now." The principal's office was a storm, parents called, voices raised. My father, a stern contractor, was summoned, his face a mask of confusion. "What's this about, Caleb?" he demanded, the photo glaring from his phone. I stammered, shame choking me, but Dylan spoke, his voice steady. "It's my fault, sir." I kissed him. My heart lurched, his sacrifice a shield, but the principal's frown deepened. "This is a disruption," she said. "Suspension pending review." The words were a gavel, my future crumbling, and I fled, the halls a blur, Ryan's laughter echoing. "Told you more." Desperate for refuge, I joined an LGBTQ+ youth group at a San Diego community center, a safe haven where teens shared stories of identity and struggle. A mentor, Alex, spoke of coming out, his words a lifeline. "Your truth is your strength." I clung to them, sketching Alex's words in my book, but the scandal followed, my phone buzzing with hate. Was Dylan's kiss real or a fleeting act? My secret Instagram, Shadow Scribe, was my only escape, where I posted a sketch of a broken arch. Dylan H_22 liking it, his comment, "You're stronger than this," a spark in the dark. That night, at a family dinner, my father's silence was a wall, his fork scraping the plate. "Is it true?" he asked, the photo looming between us. "I don't know." I lied, my voice trembling, fear of rejection a noose. He sighed, his eyes softening. "We'll talk later," he said, but the distance grew, a chasm I couldn't cross. I lay in my San Diego bedroom, the Pacific's hum a distant roar, sketching Dylan's face, his kiss a memory that burned. Mia's betrayal, Ryan's taunts, and the school's judgment were a storm, but Dylan's words, "I'm in love with you," were a beacon, pulling me toward a truth I couldn't deny. The halls loomed, a battlefield where love and hate collided, and I braced for the fallout, knowing it would break me or forge me. Dylan was my rival, my savior, and now my heart, a flame in the heat of the night that I couldn't extinguish no matter the cost. The San Diego dawn broke with a cruel brilliance, its golden light exposing the wreckage of my life after the talent show disaster. I was Caleb Moore, a 17-year-old junior, my sketchbook a tattered refuge in a high school that had become a battlefield. Dylan Hayes, the 6'2" football star with eyes like a Pacific storm, had kissed me backstage, his confession, "I'm in love with you," a thunderbolt that shifted my world. But Mia Torres's viral photo of that kiss had unleashed a tsunami, drowning us in scandal. Ryan Baxter's taunts, the principal's threats, and my father's disapproval were a vice, squeezing my heart until it bled. Now, as whispers turned to shouts, Dylan's distance and a shocking betrayal pushed me to the edge, forcing me to fight for a love I wasn't sure could survive. The school was a cauldron, phones flashing with Mia's photo, comments slicing like knives. Hayes and Moore are done, Caleb's a freak. I slunk through the halls, my sketchbook clutched like armor, avoiding the theater club where my ruined backdrop mocked me. Dylan was nowhere, his locker empty, his teammates dodging my gaze. At lunch, Ryan Baxter loomed, his sneer venomous. "Hayes ditch you yet, Moore?" he taunted, tossing a fry at my tray. I flinched, humiliation burning, but a new voice cut through. Emma Lopez, a theater club friend with fierce brown eyes. "Leave him alone, Baxter," she snapped, her 5-foot frame defiant. Ryan scoffed but backed off, and Emma squeezed my hand. "Ignore him, Caleb. You're not alone." Her words were a lifeline, but Dylan's absence was a wound. Had his kiss been a lie, a fleeting act under pressure? I poured my pain into my secret Instagram, Shadow Scribe, posting a sketch of a shattered star, Dylan H_22's like a faint spark. At the LGBTQ plus youth group near Mission Bay, I shared my fears with Alex, the mentor. "Love's messy," he said, his voice calm. "Trust your heart, but protect it." I nodded, sketching his words, but the scandal's weight crushed me, my phone buzzing with hate. Home was no refuge. At dinner, my father's silence was a wall, his fork scraping the plate, the viral photo a ghost between us. "This true?" he asked, his voice gruff, holding up his phone. My throat tightened, shame choking me. "It's complicated," I said, my voice trembling, fearing his rejection. "It's not right, Caleb," he said, his eyes hard. "You're grounded until this blows over." The words were a cage, and I fled to my room, my sketchbook open to a half-drawn Dylan, his face a riddle I couldn't solve. Was he ashamed, or had I misread everything? Desperate to fight back, I started a school blog, Voice in the Shadows, exposing bullying anonymously. My first post about the talent show sabotage went viral, students commenting, "This is Ryan's crew. Caleb's not the problem." Emma, my ally, dug deeper, texting me late. Found Mia's text to Ryan. She planned the prop collapse. My heart raced, betrayal cutting deep. Mia, Dylan's ex, had orchestrated my humiliation, and Ryan was her pawn. I confronted Ryan in the quad, my voice shaking but firm. "I know Mia set me up," I said, Emma at my side. Ryan smirked, unfazed. "Prove it, loser," he said, but his eyes flickered, guilt betraying him. That night, I ran to Mission Beach, the boardwalk's neon lights a blur, needing air to breathe. I posted on Shadow Scribe, a sketch of a broken bridge, captioning it, "Truth hurts, but lies destroy." Dylan H_22 commented, "I'm sorry," and my heart lurched. Was he out there watching? I spotted him by the roller coaster, his silhouette against the Pacific, and chased him, sand flying, my sneakers pounding. "Dylan," I shouted, catching him, my breath ragged. His face was pale, his eyes tormented. I messed up, Caleb, he said, his voice breaking. The team, my dad, they're freaking out. I didn't know how to face you. You left me, I said, tears stinging, the boardwalk's music a cruel backdrop. That kiss, was it real? He stepped closer, his hand grazing my arm, warm and desperate. It's real, he said, his voice raw. I love you, but I'm scared. I didn't want to drag you down. His confession was a wave, washing away my anger, but the crowd stares, phones out, filming, reminded me of the scandal. They're watching, I whispered, panic rising, but Dylan's grip tightened. Let them, he said, his eyes blazing. I'm done hiding. Before we could speak, a new rumor hit. Ryan posted a Dr. Chat log, claiming I'd seduced Dylan, twisting our story into a lie. The school's Instagram exploded, comments vicious. Caleb's a predator. Hayes deserves better. My father called, his voice cold. Come home now. I ran, Dylan's voice fading, my heart a battlefield. At the youth group, Alex urged me to fight. Own your truth, he said, and I posted on my blog, exposing Ryan's lies, Emma's evidence, Mia's texts, backing me up. Comments shifted. Caleb's telling the truth, Mia's the liar. That night, I sketched Dylan on the boardwalk, his eyes a storm, my pencil trembling. My father's footsteps echoed, his shadow in my doorway. I saw your blog, he said, his voice softer. I don't understand, but I'm listening. His words were a crack in the wall, hope flickering, but the scandal's weight lingered. Ryan's lies a noose. Dylan's love was my anchor, but was it enough? The halls loomed, a stage for a showdown that would break us or bind us, and I braced for the storm, knowing it would define me.